Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ticket booth. Your seat is ready, and tonight's show is about to begin. Grab your popcorn, get comfy, and give a warm welcome to your host tonight, Blake.
Welcome to the ticket booth. Now showing Trick or Treat. We're on video this time. I've had a lot of people ask me to do video, so we're doing it. From here, it looks like the camera angle's a little crooked. If that's the case, I'm sorry. I thought I had it straight, but decided to do video because everybody's that I know who's been listening to the podcast have wanted a video version. So this is the best way I could do it, and hopefully I can get this going correctly. But as you guys can see, we've got Cam from the Halloween series.
Hey.
Yeah, he was the bear. He was the guy that almost chopped my hand off with a power saw.
Yep, that's me.
He's also the guy that doesn't know how to get comfortable.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we're going to talk about Trick or Treat today, and this is a movie that I've never seen, despite having the Funko Pop up here somewhere. And you have.
Yeah, I've seen it probably like 4 or 5 times.
How long since you've seen it?
That's probably been like a year. I always watch around Halloween.
Okay. Yeah.
Like October area.
Firstly, before we dive into the movie, I just want to say this is going to be kind of difficult to it's like it's one of those movies, if you've never seen it, that has a bunch of different storylines that they don't all come together in the end. They all come together throughout the movie. So it's kind of
an anthology.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to keep up with. So just bear with us. I'm gonna try to do it in the best way possible. But just starting off right now, I love this movie. I'm pretty sure this might be my favorite Halloween movie now after watching that. So yeah, let's just hop right into it. Remember, 2 things to remember. This is spoilers. If you've never seen the movie and you have intentions of watching it and you don't want spoilers, don't listen to this. Watch the movie, come back and listen to this. And second thing, this is a little different from the main channel. Even though this is on the Grim Grinning Host channel, I just want to say this is a little bit more unfiltered. I will not be editing out any like cursing or stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. We're not going to go crazy, but if one slips out, we're not as filtered as we are on the main channel, because this is talking about all types of movies. Does not matter what it is. So yeah, let's get into it. So movie actually opens up with a cool little it starts off with the couple coming in.
Yeah. The robot, the chick was dressed as a robot, and the guy was, I don't know what the guy was. He was like wearing just a neck piece and some gauntlets, or I guess he was like a medieval torturer. I don't know. I don't know what he's supposed to be.
And we automatically, their house is completely decked out. Like they've got ghosts hanging up, looking like they're floating. They've got pumpkins everywhere, lights and stuff. And she's like, we're done with Halloween.
It has the vibe, like kind of like the original Halloween, where it feels like it's that definitely Halloween. Well, it is on Halloween night, but it feels like a Halloween night. Like it's not just like Halloween felt like an autumn, early autumn Halloween, right before you go trick or treating, and then this movie is like when you're trick or treating. Like that's what it feels like.
This movie takes place all on Halloween night, just at different times, and we jump back and forth over and over. So yeah, it, like I said, a lot to keep up with, but despite their house just being completely decked out, it looks like she doesn't appreciate Halloween nearly as much as he does. Maybe I don't even know how he feels about Halloween. You would think that they would like Halloween with the amount of work they put in.
He did say he did say whenever she goes to blow out the jack-o'-lantern, and then he says, well, maybe you should leave it lit, and then she doesn't.
So to some degree, he cares about Halloween way more than she does. She's like wanting to take all this stuff down. She says her mom's coming in tomorrow. She's gonna have a heart attack when she sees it. Like, I'm sorry, where does her mom live? And compared to like this Halloween town, like why is she?
They're Halloween in Ohio. It's like in the
I got that. Warren, Ohio. That's where it takes place, in Warren, Ohio. I don't even know if that's a real city. I might have to look that one up.
Yeah.
But there was. I don't know. So yeah, she wants to take them. She wants to take the Halloween decorations down. He does not. He wants to go inside and get it on, if you know what I mean. But she blows out
With
the
the
pumpkin.
VHS tape, yeah.
Yeah.
The nature special.
Yeah, the nature special is what it got labeled. So she wants to take down the Halloween decorations, and he's like wanting to go inside and get it on. So she's like, "Fine, I'll take down the Halloween decorations, and you can go and put on the tape." He goes inside, picks out a VHS tape that says the nature special, puts it on. It's porn. It's just straight porn.
Yeah,
They've no hiding that one. So she's outside, and she starts taking down the Halloween decorations, and we get a little POV of one of our favorites, one of our little kids that we like. That sounds bad. It's Sam. Okay,
Sam. Yeah, you guys. If y'all don't know who Sam is by name, he's the little. You see him at Spirit a lot these past 2 years. He's the little. He's up there. He's.
I don't know if you guys can see it.
You won't. He's beside Michael Myers, but he's the little bag-headed orange. Footsie pajama wearing.
Yeah, if you guys watched the Funko Pop Gauntlet, you guys know who he is. But he's one of those where essentially, from what Cam told me and what I can gather from the movie, he really likes to follow the rules of Halloween. So,
yeah, there's rules like in the movie. They go over it, like always give out candy, always check your candy, leave the jack-o'-lanterns lit. Don't take down decorations. That's the ones I gathered. There's probably deeper or like more specific ones if you actually pay attention for it, but those are the ones that I gathered from just watching. And I knew the movie that's one of its themes, like the rules of Halloween and all that.
So Sam, who we haven't really seen fully yet, comes out and attacks her. And it kind of cuts off as she's getting attacked. He like tackles her to the sidewalk, and we see these 3 kids. The only one I can really remember dressed up as was a clown, yeah. And they run away. And then we cut to homie inside watching the nature special.
Yeah, when she screams, it's masked by the screams from that,
from
that specific movie. Match from that, so
and it's not a scary movie.
He doesn't hear his wife scream. He doesn't know it's her. Because he was like asleep, I guess. A lot of time couldn't have passed though, because, well, I guess a lot of time did probably pass.
Yeah,
when you actually look at.
Unless he, I don't know what he was doing. He's either asleep or he just decided to have fun on his own. I'm not sure what it was, but
exhausted. Yeah.
So there's like a tiny little time skip where it's still nighttime. He goes outside and he tries to find her, and he sees like this hand, which. We had a shot previously where she was like going to take down decorations. She runs into one of those fake legs hanging from the tree. So he sees a hand hanging from the tree and assumes that it's fake. We get a glimpse now. It kind of focuses as one of the ghosts hanging up. The light turns on. He starts walking towards it. We get a glimpse that that the hand unfocuses.
Well, if you remember, they focused on his hand when he was laying down and he was wearing. You saw his ring.
Yeah,
his wedding ring. Well, the hand that they show, you see like it's blood dripping from it, and then they showed the ring. You see,
so he thought it was fake for a second, and then got distracted by the light of one of the floating ghosts turning on. So when he turns around, it focuses on the hand. You see the wedding ring. It's her hand. So I'm guessing Sam chopped her up, hung pieces of her from the tree. He goes, the man goes and takes.
No, he wrapped her body parts like around the base of the ghost, because they were like cross, like T's with
not the hand. The hand was on the tree.
Oh yeah, maybe he did. He definitely cut, because I remember when under the ghost, like the way they had it was like some 2x4s made into a T, and then a little sack full of stuff to make a head.
Yeah,
and then the sheet just draped over. That's basically what he did with her, but you could tell like she was all. It didn't focus on it too long, so you couldn't get all of it in, but you could tell. Sorry, you could tell. I was eating Chipotle while we were watching it, so. But you could tell that she was like her guts and stuff were probably straggled all around the 2x4 and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, he takes off the sheet. He sees that, but the most prominent thing that we see is her head attached to like where the head of the ghost would be. and it's, her eyes are just wide open, and she's got Sam's little popsicle, his little, not popsicle, a lollipop,
Yeah.
shoved inside of her mouth, and it's gruesome. It's the first thing you see, like first piece of gore you see, and it's gross.
I wonder if his lollipop is like made of glass or something.
I mean, he did eat it.
Yeah,
but I mean,
he's,
that makes sense.
yeah.
But so it goes from that, and it kind of goes into like, a title card, and the title card's like it's showing through like all the cast and stuff like that. And
It shows a graphic novel too.
Yeah, it's
or
a comic
book.
It's a comic book, and that's one thing we forgot to look up. That we
I'm
thought
gonna look it up.
He's gonna look it up. Our suspicion is that it's a.
I think it's a comic, and then they made it into a movie. But
yeah,
I
that's
could be
a
wrong.
comic.
Could be the other
So
way.
give us a second. Let's look it up. I'll cut this part out.
Trick or Treat, the graphic novel adaptation of the film. Oh, so the film came first, and then the comic came after because it's the adaptation of the film. So the comic was after the movie.
Oh, so they had the foresight to do this comic wise.
Yeah, it looks like.
So the comic is just the same thing as the film.
I believe so. It's probably bigger because it says the Omnibus trilogy, or the Omnibus.
Yeah, the stories, because this was
the Trick or Treat Omnibus, so it's probably like more, and it probably has more stories that weren't in the movie.
Maybe
because it says he wreaks havoc on the town, so this must be Sam doing all this. But
oh no, okay, it wasn't open. That's good. So yes, we got those that couple is dead, and now we have the comic title card. This is where we learn it takes place in Warren, Ohio, and then title card ends, and it cuts to we're inside of like this. We're inside of like a Kmart now.
A Kmart, it's like a Halloween store.
Yeah, and we got Peeping Tommy, which is like this little kid who was dressed up like, what was it, a bear?
A bear, yeah.
And
like
fun fact, if you've seen this movie or you're gonna see this movie, this kid that is wearing the bear costume that's spying on the girls is the same. This kid plays Sam. So we found that out watching the credits. So I thought that was a little cool. But I call him Peeping Tommy because
that's Sam Peeping Tommy.
Yeah,
I'm like, why are they calling him Peeping Tommy?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that kid was called Peeping Tommy.
Yeah,
he was like,
that's
that's Peeping Tommy.
Yeah, Sam's full name is Sam Peeping Tommy.
I was like, did Sam peep in on somebody?
So yeah, the little kid in the bear costume, or Peeping Tommy, is looking through the cracks of the dressing room and looking at 4 girls. One of them being Lori. I don't know the other 3's names, but one of them is Lori's sister.
They were dressed as the Disney princesses.
Yeah, Disney.
The other 3 were dressed as Cinderella.
Yeah, we had Disney.
The one
references.
in blue with the blonde hair, and then
that was Cinderella.
Snow White,
and then it looked like Bo Peep. The one
it wasn't
pink. She was holding
It looked like Belle.
Belle doesn't wear pink.
The one that was wearing yellow. Oh,
she wasn't wearing.
I don't even remember what they were wearing. They were Disney characters.
Cinderella. There was Snow White, and then in the pink was Bo Peep because she had the little hook thing.
Oh yeah, and then the main girl
Lori.
of this story was Lori, and she was Little Red Riding Hood, which will come into play.
So so technically the first couple was one story. Now this is moving on to another story, and Peeping Tommy's looking at him, and then he gets shooed away. The kids come, or the girls come out, and they're like young adults, got their different Disney references, and they're talking about this party, and all 3 of the Cinderella, the Disney characters, because it's Cinderella, Snow White, Bo Peep, Lori is dressed up as Red Riding Hood. So the 3 Disney princesses talk about they're not virgins. They're talking about the girl.
Yeah, they're not virgins, but
yeah, don't spoil it just yet.
Yeah,
but Little Red Riding Hood, or Lori, she is. We're gonna call her virgins because they're taught they call it virgins. She's a virgin, and she's 22. So they mentioned that she's 22 years old. She's a virgin. Now, I have a question about the 22-year-old thing. I'm putting emphasis on that because I have a question later, but I'll get to that question later. Hopefully, I'll remember it. And they're talking about this party and how they need to get dates. On the way out, Cinderella, which is Lori's older sister, I'm guessing. Yeah. Which I have another question.
They're all sisters, quote unquote.
Okay, we'll get, yeah. So we'll just call her Cinderella because I don't remember her name. Flirts with the cashier. and says, "Hey, there's this party we're gonna go to. Meet me at this time." They're like, okay, and then they cut. It is now we're now with this Rowley looking kid. He looks like Rowley.
This little chubby fat kid.
Yeah,
I'm one to talk, but
Yeah.
this little chubby fat kid is
Uh,
walking down the street,
and he's smashing pumpkins. He's
yeah,
just
knocking
pulling
them off of
pumpkins
people's
and
things,
smashing
like
them.
a little douchebag.
Yeah, and he goes up to this house, and it's the candy bill says,
I'll say this: a lot of people in this movie, you don't feel bad for them. Like it's almost like because they all of them kind of do stuff that makes them deserve what happens to them, except for the couple, and that's pretty much it. But
yeah, but this kid goes up to one of the houses, and there's a candy bowl, and it says, "I'm not home. Take one." You already know Rowley's taking like handfuls. He starts.
he
going
takes
up.
the whole bowl, don't he? He just
Does
dumps
he?
the whole bowl.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, I was writing while I was doing. I'm trying to multitask, but he takes more than one piece, and I get this man who is a principal, I guess, at the school the kid goes to,
Mr. Crocker.
Yeah, looking like Mr. Crocker.
Yeah, he looks like Mr. Crocker, kind of.
He comes up and he's like, "Oh, that's probably not healthy, so take a seat." And he's gets him to take a seat, and I put down Mr. Crocker is creepy and and a killer because as he's talking to Rowley, giving him life lessons,
he's telling him about the rules, like the traditions
yeah,
of Halloween, and
Yeah,
that's
that
where
you
it goes
mentioned.
back to the thing. And then he's like, there's one rule. The kid starts like upchuck, like he's like, when you're about
Coughing.
to throw up, you're like, you feel it coming, and the guy's like, well, there's another rule that you should always follow. It's always check your candy. And then the kid starts just throwing up heaps of blood, and I think he throws
Ugh.
up some guts.
Yeah, and he dies.
The candy was poison.
Yeah.
Like razor blades in your candy, that old stuff. That's
Yeah.
basically what Mr. Wilkins is doing.
Yeah, his name is Mr. Wilkins, but he looks like Mr. Crocker. So we follow Mr. Crocker as he drags Rowley into that's not his actual name. I just don't know what it is. I forgot.
They didn't say his name, I think.
They did.
Oh,
I'm
it
pretty
did.
sure, yeah.
Mr. Wilkins said it.
Yeah. So Mr. Wilkins drags Rowley into the house and out to then it kind of cuts. It cuts to him in the backyard, and he's dragging. No, I'm wrong. Sorry. He drags him into the house, and then he gets another knock at the door. He's got blood all over him at this point.
Yeah.
And it's these three girls. One is dressed up as an angel.
No, it's two girls and one boy.
Yeah, two girls and a boy. There's the two girls are an angel. One is
an alien,
and then
the little boy is a pirate.
Yeah, and the alien girl had those like braces.
Like the ring. I've never seen them. They're like the ones that go around your head.
Yeah, I've only seen them in movies.
I never like the nerdy. She looks like the typical, nerdy.
The only
girl
one that
glasses.
the only braces like that I've actually seen in movies though is the one from the Johnny Depp, Charlie and Chocolate Factory. Remember when he's like eating the candy and shit, and it's all gross because he has fucking all those braces and shit on it. Oh, well.
I remember that movie, but yeah, I kind of blink it out. It was one of those movies where it's just like, yeah,
it's
that was wild. That was made.
It's there.
It came out a Johnny Depp movie, basically.
Yeah, Johnny Depp's good though. Anyways, so these kids they're like, "Oh, hi, Mr. Wilkins." They pretend to scream. He kind of freaks out for a second, thinking that he's been caught, but then they're like, "No," they start laughing, and the angel girl says,
I think he's like their principal or something.
Yeah, she calls him Principal Wilkins.
Yeah.
And they're like, Can we take the pumpkin you just carved? And he goes, "Why?" And she's like, "Oh, something for something smart." And he says, "Sure." So they take the pumpkins. Remember that, because we're gonna get back to that. But after they leave, we cut to Mr. Wilkins in the backyard of his house. He's dragging assumingly Rowley's body in the backyard, and there's like this grave that he dug.
Yeah, and he has, don't forget though, he has a tarpa and a garden gnome sitting on top of it.
So he takes the tarp off and he throws the body into the grave.
And it's like body, like you just see like bags and bags. Like it's probably like at least 12 bodies in there and worms and stuff all over him.
Yeah.
So he's like been killing kids, I guess, all night. Yeah.
and he puts it in there, and this dog comes out named Spike. And it's his neighbor's dog, and he starts, barking and stuff. And he chops off one of Rowley's fingers and throws it to the dog. And meanwhile, all this time, like before the dog showed up, Mr. Wilkins' kid just keeps like coming. He's on the second floor, and he keeps.
And for some reason, he's yelling.
Yeah,
he
like,
yells everything he says. He's like,
"Daddy,
Daddy, I'm done trick or treating." And it's like he can hear. He sees his dad. He could just talk to him, but he just yells. This movie is meant to be comedic too. Like it's not all just horror. It's meant to be funny.
Yeah, but not on the same level as like Scary Movie.
It's not like scary. It's not a parody, and it's not like Beetlejuice where it's silly overall. It's a horror movie first, but it's like a horror comedy.
It's got some
comedic elements in it. Yeah.
So, Mr. Wilkins is like, "Oh, go watch Charlie Brown," and the kid goes, "Charlie Brown's an asshole."
And Mr. Wilkins he's getting so frustrated. He's like, "Oh my God, Charlie Brown's an asshole." He's like mocking his kid. It's hilarious. Yeah. It's like he's doing something. It makes it out like he's doing something important. Like he's like, "Oh, I gotta mow the yard," but he's just burying bodies, and his kid's interrupting him, and it's pissing him off.
Yeah,
it's funny.
And we're led to believe that the kid doesn't understand what's going on, but I'll comment on that later. So, like I said, after the kid keeps interrupting him, Spike comes out. Mr. Wilkins chops off Rowley's finger, throws it to the dog. As the dog's barking, Mr. Wilkins' neighbor, the owner of the dog,
I think it's Mr. Creeley or something.
Yeah, we're calling Mr. Creeley. I think that's what it is. Comes out and is, like, "Who's there?" Like, and we're thinking at first, like, he's a dick. But we're thinking, like, well, at least what I was thinking was, wow, he's kind of being like a major dick. And like, when he was walking towards the fence, he's like, "Who's there? I'll shoot you." I'm like, is it weird why are you asking who's there? There's a fence, there's another neighbor's yard, but there's a reason why he's doing this. But he starts yelling, and then eventually Mr. Wilkins is like, "Oh, yeah, it's me." And he's like standing in the hole on top of the bodies.
At first, he tries to hide. He's like,
yeah,
he's like this, and then he lays down on the bodies
because
he can't do it because I guess they stink.
Because he's worried. He's also worried though because he threw the finger and he didn't see Spike eat it. Now we know he did, but he didn't see Spike eat it, so he's worried that the neighbor's gonna find the finger. So, anyways, there's like a little hole in the fence, and Mr. Creeley's like, "Oh, what are you doing in there?" He's like, "Oh, septic tank. I'm just trying to fix it." He goes, "Oh, fix it. Hurry up and fix it. It smells like a whore out here," or something like
a dead whore.
Yeah. It sounds like a dead whore out here.
Sounds like a dead whore.
And he makes a joke. He goes, "What are you doing in that pit?"
He's closed, dead kids.
Yeah, he's like hiding bodies, and Mr. Wilkins like, "Oh, haha." Anyways,
he just doesn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah. Anyways, Mr. Creeley, gets his dog who's already eaten the finger and goes back inside. And as he's walking back inside, Mr. Wilkins is like, "Oh, happy Halloween." And Mr. Wilkins says, "Oh, screw you."
Screw you.
Remember that. So we get back. As he's doing that, by the way, the whole reason that Mr. Creeley heard Mr. Wilkins in the first place over there was because one of the bodies inside of the pit was still alive and like starts whining and starts trying to grab at Mr. Wilkins, and Mr. Wilkins just stomping the
Mr.
hell
Wilkins
out of him.
It's not meant to, it's not funny, but because of how Mr. Wilkins is, and how like
such a nerd
things are, and how things are happening, it's funny because of how he's reacting to it. That's what makes it funny. Like his reactions are, it's like you're almost like kind of understanding because it's like, God, why do these people keep interrupting me?
Yeah,
it's like it makes you think of that. Like whenever you're trying to do something, just so many people pop up, like they're either calling you or they're asking you, "Hey, can you do this or that?" That's basically what Mr. Wilkins is going through. So it's like that's relatable on that extent.
Yeah. So eventually he finally gets the awake kid to shut up. He kills him. Mr. Creeley goes back inside, and then here comes freaking Billy. Is so freaking annoying, and he's like, "Daddy, come help me carve these pumpkins." He says pumpkins, right? Jack-o'-lantern.
And he's like, "You got to help me with the eyes."
And he keeps saying like, "Oh, you got to help me with the eyes."
Yeah.
And then he walks away. He goes, "Oh, I'll be in there. We'll do some other stuff." And he walks away. And then he's about to finish up. And, "Daddy, remember, help me with the eyes." Like, oh my God, Billy, shut the hell up.
That's why I said Mr. Wilkins. It's bad what he's doing, but he's so relatable.
Yeah, it's like, geez.
He's dealing with his neighbor interrupting him, his kids being annoying as hell.
So he finishes up and he's walking back inside. He's mocking his kid along the way, and he gets up to his back porch, and he hears like knocking off to his right, and he looks to his right, and at the window is at the bar a barred window, by the
Yeah,
way.
he has a barred. Yeah, yeah,
On
that's weird.
Mr. Creeley's house, there's a barred window. He's knocking, and he's like, help me, Mr. Wilkins, get over here and help me. And then Mr. Wilkins says, "Ah, screw you," and then walks back inside. And as soon as he walks back inside, you see something like
A flash.
swipe across.
You don't
and
see what it is.
Something basically tackles Mr. Creeley.
So
inside
something's
his own
going on
house.
at Mr. Creeley's house.
Remember that. That's
Mhm.
like gonna be the slogan for this podcast. Remember
this
that.
whole movie. Things happen.
Just remember that
for a reason. So
yeah. So Mr. Wilkins goes back inside. His kid scares him, and he's like, "All right, let's go downstairs. Let's go carve the jack-o'-lanterns. Help me with the eyes." Like, oh my god. So then you could see like it looks like something in Mr. Wilkins just snaps. So he's like, he takes this knife as they walk. He goes, "Let's go to the basement." And he takes this knife and hides it behind his back. And they go down.
And they very much emphasize the knife.
Yes. They're going down the stairs, and the kid's like jumping down each stair, and I'm like, Jesus, just kill
He's
him.
one of those kids.
Just
He's
kill
like
him.
one of those kids. Like, oh my god, this
Yeah.
kid.
So they get to the bottom, and the kid's like standing at this table, and you see all these masks, which you pointed something out. I didn't even think about.
I said it's creepy because he killed all the kids. He's got all their Halloween masks,
and
just
I didn't
up
even
in
notice
his
that.
basement.
Yeah, he's got them like hanging.
But
on
you
the
know
wall.
what? There's another thing I'm going to bring up later when we see something about Mr. Wilkins, and I wish we could go back and watch and look and see if we see a certain mask.
I'll think about it. I think I know where you're going with that, but if it's where I think you're going with that, I don't think so. But we'll find out. So they get to the bottom, and you see Billy standing in front of the table. You don't see what's on the table, and Mr. Wilkins comes over, and he like grabs his kid's hair like very lightly, but it looks like he's about to yank him back or something. And then
Yeah,
he
just puts his hand on his head.
takes the knife, and it kind of raises above the camera, raises above Billy's head.
You just see his hand. You see
Yeah.
the hand with the
And
knife.
it comes down, and you think he just stabbed his kid,
Yeah,
but he didn't. The camera lowers, and you see his kid still standing there, like
all
smiling.
happy and shit. Yeah,
And then it shows you what's on the table. It's Rowley's head,
yeah. He cut off the fat kid's head,
and
then he stabbed. I guess he stabbed him in the head or something. I don't know.
he's like this is the part where the kid goes, "Remember," he says a lot more creepy. "Remember, help me with the eyes."
Yeah.
So this is the jack-o'-lantern they're carving.
So they're both killers.
Yes. So now,
Which makes me wonder. They mentioned the mom died. I wonder if they both killed the mom.
I put down shit. They're carving Rowley.
Yeah. To be fair, that kid was an asshole.
So then we cut to the three kids that took Mr. Wilkins' pumpkin, who had rung the doorbell. And they're walking down. They go to this other house, and they ring the doorbell. And this the woman in like a cat suit, this old woman in a cat suit, sexy cat suit, but she's there. I'm not even gonna beat around the bush. This woman opens the door to these three kids, and they're just having an orgy in the back. Like one of the pirate boy says, "I just saw."
You see the kids like leaning over, trying to look at what's going on.
Yeah, you see like the pirate. I think the pirate kid said like, "Coach something."
He's like, I think Coach. I forgot what his name is. He was dressed as a hot dog, and I think he was messing with a pig.
Yeah. So
yeah, doing butt stuff with a pig.
Yeah.
I'm hoping a teacher that was dressed up as a pig, but
yeah. So they get their candy and they start walking away, and another one of their friends who we haven't seen up to this point, another guy, comes running up with a shopping cart full of pumpkins, and his name, it's either Schrader or Trader. Either way, weird name.
I told you, I don't know if you heard me when I said it, but it would have been funny if they named him like Tramer.
Yeah,
like
Ben
Tramer from Halloween.
Yeah,
just like a little reference.
And then he gets ran over.
Yeah, he just gets, and then the car just explodes.
Yeah,
like a car. That's how cars do. They just explode.
Michael Bay. Yeah. So he's got a shopping cart full of pumpkins, and they're they're like, "Oh, we got to get more," and they're planning for something, and they start walking, and they're like, "Oh, you know where we could go," and they go to this house that's I don't know, actually I won't say hundreds, but there's a lot of freaking pumpkins here. There's at least maybe 50 pumpkins.
Yeah, their whole yard's decked out with pumpkins.
And they call her, I'm not going to say what they call her because it's bad nowadays. You can't say stuff like this anymore, but it's It's Rhonda, and they call her a slur, starting with an R. You can guess what it is. And there's something a little off about her, but she comes out, and then Trader. I'm gonna call him Trader because I think that's what it is. Trader. Trader's like, oh yeah, I'm Trader. Because the other three leave him like, you're up, Trader, and they leave. So he's kind of like, I don't want to say flirting, but he's like being very friendly with her. And at first, I thought it was like a scheme. I thought he was just playing around, like he wasn't actually like being nice. But don't worry, he is actually nice.
Yeah, he's actually a nice kid. He's one also that I feel bad for.
Yes.
Him and the pirate. Well, we'll get to it.
Yeah, but so Trader's like, oh, did you carve all these yourself? And she's like, oh yes, and that's it. They cut again, and we got an alleyway. You're going through like the city. There's like a party, like parade sort of thing.
Yeah, they have a massive parade going on the whole time throughout the movie. There's a parade.
And in one of the alleyways, you see a bunch of people hooking up, and we see this one girl who's like hooking up with this.
Looks like she's getting a hickey.
Yeah.
From this dude in a robe.
Yeah, in this black mask, and the camera pulls out, and you see she's got blood running down both sides of her neck where this dude has just kissed her, and she realizes he flashes his mouth, and you see fangs, and it's like, oh shit, we got vampires, and he just bit her.
Yeah.
So she starts running away, screaming, and as she gets out of the alleyway and into the parade, she bumps into none other than the robot woman from the beginning.
The couple from the beginning.
Yes.
That's why it's kind of difficult. We're going to go over what we think the chronological order is, but it's all happening around the same time. Everything's going on at the same time.
Yeah.
So it does a good job when you're watching the movie. You can tell. I was telling him, I think this is like one of the best anthology movies because it's so seamless with how it does it.
Yeah, and it's like you easily kind of get it.
There's only one character that appears in every single story.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not even a surprise. It's
Sam. Sam's like the spirit of Halloween or something.
Yeah, so she goes and she's asking for help from the robot girl, and then the whatever he's dressed as, the nature special guy, he looks at her and he's like, "Ah, she's just drunk, honey," and then walks away. And then that's whenever the girl who's been attacked, she turns around and sees like these group of people like drinking very heavily, and they've all got fake gore makeup, so it makes hers look fake as well.
They can't tell she's actually someone bleeding.
And I'm thinking, keep running, just keep running. But no, she stands there, and sure enough, vampire guy is right there.
Well, I tell Kareem, our buddy Kareem, about this. You kind of just gotta make dumb decisions in movies, because if they were smart, then the movies would be like 15 minutes long.
Yeah, but vampire guy gets there, and sure enough, he kills her.
He does the classic cape thing where she's screaming, and then his cape lifts up, and then cuts with that.
So then we leave them, and we go back to the kids, like Trader and all the other kids, and they're walking towards this quarry. And the angel girl, who we've kind of learned is kind of just a bitch.
yeah. She is really the only one that's like the other kids are.
She's typical bully.
Yeah, she's a bully, and it's funny they dress her up as an angel.
Yes,
but I think that's on purpose.
Yeah,
you notice in movies they usually do things on purpose, but the other kids are, they're picking on that little girl, Rhonda, but they're not really like. They're not. It's like more to a lighthearted picking.
Yeah. So they're going. They're like, oh, why are we at this quarry? And they got all these. They got 8 pumpkins specifically. That's important. And they're like, well, why are we at this quarry? And then one of the braces girl is like, oh, I know what it is. But then the angel girl cuts her off and is like, no, I'm going to tell the story. She tells a story about there was one time there was a bus, and this wasn't this isn't your typical school bus.
This was like what was it, like 40 years ago?
Yeah,
or something
she goes, there was a bus. This isn't your typical school bus. It's a magic school bus.
No.
No, it's I don't even know what the kids did, but there's 8 kids.
Well, she said it. They were different. They were disturbed. So they were probably mentally like, they weren't, because they would take them to a school outside of town. So they were probably like, and you could see how they acted. They were like mentally ill.
Yeah, but it looked like, they were like special needs.
That's basically, I think they were like a special needs, but I think it was like psychological.
I just thought it was just special needs because that kid was just like he was just counting.
I think that's what it was. And it is like this time period that this story is in is like it looks like the 50s or maybe 60s. So,
Yeah,
you know,
this
back then, you
flashback.
know, they would, you know, they probably wouldn't be as accepting of stuff like that.
But I mean, the only reason why I think it's only special needs is because it's very obvious that Rhonda is as well, like to some sort of degree.
I don't know though. I think those kids were. I think it was different though because we'll get to it. We'll talk about Rhonda. I think Rhonda's. She's just kind of like she's a little like strange, but she doesn't act that weird.
I don't know.
She doesn't act like there's anything like mentally wrong with her. But
so she tells a story about there was these 8 kids. They were all disturbed. They all have these Halloween costumes on, and there's a bus driver and
it's the creepiest looking. Like it's like the freaking like devil thing in the back that had like
the tall neck,
a big long neck, and then freaking the vampire kid. Their costumes. You probably seen them at Spirit too because they sell 3 of the masks. But the costumes just look homemade, like those old school homemade costumes.
I'm a sucker for those things. I love those,
like from like the 50s and 40s and
like
stuff. And that's basically
cheap plastic ones.
Yeah, and it's like home, like you made it at home. That's how they look. There's one that looked like our friend.
Yeah,
like a big head of our friend.
But she tells a story about the bus driver and was in cahoots with those kids' parents, and those parents had enough of these kids, and I guess they
were tired.
Yeah, they paid the bus driver to, I guess, kill them, drive the bus off the quarry. So he goes and makes sure that they're all chained up.
It shows. It doesn't show it till after what he does is he stops at the quarry, and then he gets up and he's walking through the aisle giving out candy. For some reason, I don't know why. Maybe to calm them down. I don't know, but it shows like they're chained up.
Yeah,
underneath the costume.
But the vampire kid, who is just like, he keeps saying like, "Oh, I want to go home. I want to go home."
He's counting. I don't know if you noticed, but he's counting the house numbers as he's going. So he memorized the route.
He remembers how many houses there are before his house, and then he realizes they're going the wrong way. So he keeps going wrong way. I want to go home, and he manages to get out of his restraints. And as the bus driver is giving out candy, he turns around to see the vampire kid, is now in control of the bus, and he drives straight off into the quarry.
Yeah.
And they mention that they don't know where the bus driver went. But we see in the flashback that the bus driver was able to get out of the bus, whereas all the other kids drowned.
Yeah, they were chained down. The only one that wasn't was the vampire kid. Probably couldn't swim.
So the bus driver got out, but they don't know where he is anymore. So then we cut back to Lori and her sisters or whatever.
These are back to the Disney dressed women.
So they're finding more guys. Bo Peep and Snow White find these 2 guys in a news van, because we remember Cinderella got the cashier from the Halloween store.
Yeah,
and they're macking on these guys, and the Cinderella's having a chat with Lori, and it's like, oh yeah, we'll find you one. Like, don't worry, we're gonna get you a guy. And it doesn't seem like Lori's like too interested at first, but eventually they split up, and the Disney sisters or whatever, the Disney girls, get into the news van with the 2 news van guys and leave towards the party. And Lori's by herself. And as she's walking, we see the masked stranger, the vampire, behind her. I saw.
Yeah, and I didn't see it, so they do it like very subtly, where he's there and you can see it in the background if you look for him, but I didn't notice him.
And then we cut again back to the kids. The
quarry kid,
Trader and his friends. That's all I can think of. And she goes, we got to pay our respects with these 8 pumpkins. We've got to put them down beside the lake. So we got to go use this janky little elevator, this rusty little elevator, and take it down so we can put the pumpkins beside the lake. So of course, this angel bitch decides that she gets in with Trader and the braces girl and shuts the door behind them, leaving the pirate and Rhonda out by themselves. And she goes, "Oh, we can only hold 3. Y'all bring the rest down." And they go down with their lit pumpkins. Well, now it comes back up, and the
pirate boy
and Rhonda come in, and they start going down. As they're going down, they see beside the lake is all foggy, and they see they start hearing the Trader and the angel and the Braceface start screaming.
Braceface,
yeah. And then one by one their lights go out, and the pirate kid starts freaking out. Like, he's like, "Oh, I want to go back up," and he keeps trying to go back up, but it won't go back up. And Rhonda's being really nice, and they get to the bottom. She gets out. She goes, "Keep your pumpkin lit."
They'll protect you.
It'll protect you. And she will, which makes me think she thought about Sam.
Well, see, this whole town knows the traditions of Halloween.
Okay.
So that's like, it seems they know the traditions.
Yes.
Because they mention it all the time.
So she closes the door and she starts going through, and as she gets to the edge of the lake, she sees a bus like sitting out of the water, like it's lodged in the water, and she gets grabbed by something. So then she runs away, and as she's running away, she looks off to her right and sees the pirate boy getting eaten by a freaking zombie.
Yeah, and she gets grabbed by zombies.
Yes.
It's like 2 zombies grab her. Yeah, and they crawl out of the mud.
Yeah, and then another one's eating the pirate boy, and she runs, and then eventually, like, she gets cornered and she falls into like this small little pit or something,
like a ditch. Yeah.
Yeah, and hits her head really hard, and that's whenever the kids, the zombies, turn out to be the kids.
They were playing a prank on her.
Yeah, realize, oh crap. So Trader, being nice, he's like, we took it too far. And, Angel doesn't think so.
They were all worried. I think they were all, like, he did the most, like, to help her, but the others were all like, okay, maybe we went too far.
Yeah, it's in levels. Trader did the most. Like, he was, like, down beside her. He was, like, hugging her, holding her, making sure her head was okay. The pirate boy, like, started to step forward to help her, but then the Angel stopped her. Braceface wasn't really doing anything. And then Angel was just, again, we don't like her.
She was a bully, yeah.
She wanted it. Like, she was like, oh, what, are we just going to leave?
And they kind of show Trader is, like, really, like, he's kind of almost like he's interested in the Rhonda girl. And then the Angel is jealous of it because she looks whenever he's like,
yeah,
I like your pumpkin. Your pumpkin looks pretty or something.
While they're waiting, while they're waiting on the elevator earlier, he was like, oh, did you carve that pumpkin? She goes, yeah. And he goes, oh, it's really pretty. And then Angel gets, like, weirded out. But, so yeah, as they're sitting there, he says, let's leave. Trader says, let's leave. Angel's like, really? We're just going to leave? And he's like, we scared her. She's terrified. Like, what else do you want? And Angel's like, okay, whatever.
Well, that's when he said it was a bad joke.
Yeah.
And then she was like, a pretty good one to me.
Yeah. So he tells them just to go get their stuff so they can leave. So the pirate, Braceface, and Angel leave to go get their other stuff. And as they're gone, they're over their back again towards the bus. They start hearing whispers.
Well, no. This is another thing. There was one jack-o'-lantern out there that was lit.
Yeah,
and then Angel kicks it into the water.
Oh,
and jack-o'-lantern's out.
And that's when they start hearing.
And then suddenly whispers start happening and stuff.
That's why I got you, because you spotted that and I didn't realize it. So then literal zombies start coming out, and you realize very quickly these are the 8 kids from the bus flashback, 40 years ago.
Disturbed kids.
So you hear them, they start chasing those kids, and then you cut back to Trader and Rhonda, and they start hearing the screams, and Trader's like, oh, not again, are you kidding me? And then he gets up and he tells Rhonda, he's like, stay here. And I'm like, again, I know
Trader, you should stay with Rhonda.
Yeah, just stop splitting up. Like, let's just stop. So he leaves her, and then he runs into the Angel, and the Angel's like, we gotta go. There's little, like, this isn't a joke anymore. And then sure enough, he sees them, and they all start running, and they just straight up just ditch Rhonda. And Braceface has like these chains behind her, like attached to her, and I guess
no, they didn't get to Rhonda yet. Rhonda's still at the thing. She's waiting inside of the thing, remember?
Yes.
They didn't ditch her. She's inside.
Whenever Trader left her, she was just sitting in the ground.
But they were near the.
Oh, I didn't know they were near.
Yeah, they were near the elevator.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought they were away from it.
I think he told her to go wait in the elevator.
Oh,
I can't remember though,
but they're running away. Braceface has these chains. I guess they tied these chains around her to make it zombified or whatever. This dragon, and one of the actual zombie kids grabs it and pulls her, and you could just hear just the goriest stuff ever.
They were eating her for sure.
Yeah. So Pirate, Angel, and Trader,
ripping her apart or eating her one. Yes. Maybe ripping her apart because they don't seem like they. I mean, you hear it, but they could just be ripping her apart.
Yeah. So the Pirate, Angel, and Braceface finally get to the elevator, but the elevator door is closed, and there's these keys. They made it very specific that you have to have keys to unlock this door. And they're inside, and Rhonda's like freaking out. Not like freaking out like, oh my God, but she's kind of just, looks like she's in shock. Like she's just staring down, like looking like she's scared. And Trader's like, open the door, open the door. So she grabs the keys, and it looks like she's about to unlock the door, but then she presses the button. It starts
Well,
going
and
up.
maybe you said something like when I first ever watched this movie, I was like, why did she not save Trader at least, or the little pirate boy? And then you were like, well, she probably thinks they're playing another prank on her, which that's probably
Well,
what it
he
is.
says it. Trader says this isn't another. This isn't.
I
a
know,
joke.
but she in her mind though they were all being
Yeah.
mean to her anyway, so she may be like, oh, they just doing this again. They're just trying to get me again.
Yeah. Now, when she gets to, obviously, as she's going up, you hear like the most guttural sounds, more ripping. It's even more gross now.
Like imagine like Walking Dead, like when the zombies eat somebody.
Yes.
That's why it's like they were
And
probably
bone
eating them,
crunching.
but they could have just been ripping them apart. I don't know.
But she gets to the top, and when she gets to the top, who does she see? Sam. And this is the thing. There is something in this movie, and you didn't think so, but we'll talk about it when we get there. I'm just going to mention there is something that makes me think that Rhonda and Sam were working together in some way. But we'll get there when we get there. So she walks away. She's got this wagon. I guess they were pulling the pumpkins in, and she pulls this wagon away, and Sam just walks. Like, they don't really acknowledge each other that much. And then we cut back to Lori, who is walking down the street, and the vampire's there. This is the part where it starts to get a little fuzzy for me. And
she's walking. She's not walking down the street. She's in the woods.
She's in the woods? I thought she was on the street.
No, she's walking down because remember they were like the leaves and everything were down on there, and it was like jack-o'-lanterns lining it. She was walking towards the party.
Oh yeah. So the vampire comes out and like pins her up against a tree, and oh shit, Lori got bit.
Yeah.
And we cut there. And then we cut to the party, which is like in the woods. It's like a bonfire party. And Cinderella and
there's a lot more girls there.
There's a lot of girls and like an equal amount of guys.
Yeah. Each girl got a guy.
Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, where is she? She's late." And then all of a sudden, you see a little Red Riding Hood fall out of like a tree.
Yeah.
And like it's a big
cloak. You see something's wrapped up in the cloak.
Yeah, so Cinderella walks over and peels back the hood, and she sees the vampire guy.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm glad we're at this part. There's something I want to talk about.
Yeah. So she opens his mouth. Actually, I think it was Bo Peep that opens his mouth and takes out his teeth.
No, it was Snow White.
Oh, yeah, Snow White.
Girl dressed as Snow White.
Yeah, girl dressed as Snow White opens his mouth and takes out his teeth. They were fake vampire teeth. And then she takes off his mask, and it's
Mr. Wilkins.
It's Mr. freaking Wilkins. Yeah, Mr. Crocker.
He's killing kids and women.
Yeah. So then, were you thirsty?
Yes. I was Mr. Wilkins.
So then he looks around. He sees that all the guys here are dead.
Yeah. Oddly enough, their throats are ripped out and stuff like that.
Yeah, all the guys here are dead. So then Lori comes out, and like it's revealed that his leg his
bone is protruding out, like you see.
Yeah. And I'll let you explain this part.
What do you mean? Like what they do?
Just everything that happens after this.
So when we were talking about the virginity thing, it's not the virginity, like it's not sexual or anything. It's like, so they're like, oh, well, I forgot everything they said, but she gets on top of the vampire guy, Lori does.
Mr. Wilkins.
Gets on top of Mr. Wilkins, and then she's like, my, what big eyes you have. And then it's like, that's why it's important you remember she was Little Red Riding Hood. And I was telling him, because they say stuff, like one of the sisters, like, she was always the run of the litter and stuff like that. Well, they're werewolves. They're legitimately like werewolves. So they start changing, and you see their eyes and stuff change, and they get these fangs. And it was honestly one of the coolest werewolf, because you don't really see that a lot, where one of the girls goes up behind the other girl, and it looks like she's unzipping a dress, but it's her taking her claw and like cutting down the back of one girl's skin.
Yeah.
And they pull their flesh off, and the fur's coming out and stuff. And then Little Red Riding Hood's spine's starting to probe out. Like, like a werewolf where they're like changing their shape and all that. And then,
Yeah.
So yeah, she basically, they basically eat Mr. Wilkins, and they eat
Yes.
all the men that were there.
Guess
So
who's
it's
there?
Sam.
Sam's
Sam's just sitting there while they're just eating. And it's like they ignore Sam. I was telling him, I was like, you know who I think Sam would really like? I think he'd like Michael Myers. I think he'd love Michael Myers. He was like, well, I think Michael Myers would ignore him, kill him. I'm like, I don't think so, Blake. But
Let me know down in the comments if you think that Sam and Michael Myers would get along.
Oh yeah, they would for sure. I mean, Michael Myers was making jack-o'-lanterns and stuff out of cops' heads in his movie. So,
Okay, yeah, he's.
But this is where I was getting to. So you're like vampires, because I remember I was like, so we know zombies, and I say vampires, and I'm like, well, I mean werewolves, and you're like, well, no, vampires don't exist. Now, this obviously they're not in the movie, but the werewolves think it's their friend Lori.
Mhm.
And then when she pulls his teeth out, she's like, nice. Like, almost like, oh, those look pretty real. So in my head canon, I'm like, if zombies and werewolves exist, why wouldn't vampires? Like, I just feel like those little comments, I feel like show there probably is vampires. It's
Maybe. Yeah, I didn't actually think about that.
Yeah, because she's like, nice. Why'd you say nice at his fake teeth and stuff? But, I mean, obviously it's a little passing comment, but zombies and werewolves exist. Vampires probably exist too, and they probably interacted with them or something. But, that was just something I thought, like a little interesting side note. That because some of the comments they made just seemed like they were. Oh, and they were like, he bit me, like, so.
Wow, yeah, I didn't even think about that till you just said it.
Yeah, it makes me think because there's more like supernatural stuff.
So after that, we cut to we see the kids, the 3 kids that were
trick-or-treating, the regular kids. Like,
yeah,
they weren't doing
clown.
anything bad. They were just trick-or-treating.
Yeah, it was the clown from the beginning that saw the robot woman get killed by Sam.
The woman.
Yeah, there was 3 of them, and they go and they ring the doorbell to Mr. Creeley's house.
Yep.
Now, this specific time takes place at the same time that Mr. Wilkins is killing Rowley. So this is previous.
Yeah.
So they ring the doorbell, and the door opens, and you see like these glowing eyes, and you see this, growl, and we're probably thinking werewolves because we just saw werewolves.
Yeah.
But no, it's just Spike.
Yeah, it's the dog that ate the finger.
Yeah, Mr. Creeley, who just put his dog in a costume to scare the kids. The kids shot their candy. He takes the candy. And, that's it.
And the candy just so happened to be Mr. Wilkins' candy.
Yeah, but he didn't.
It was poisonous.
But he didn't eat it.
No, he didn't. Well, he spits it out because he tastes like something tastes weird about it.
Yeah, so he's not following the rules of Christmas. Or Christmas. Halloween. That's the next one. That's the next movie.
Yeah, instead of Sam, it's the Grinch.
Yeah. So, he goes back and he's only got 4 channels. He skipped Scooby-Doo Zombie Island. I don't know why he did that one. I would have watched that.
It's actually really good.
Yeah, I was sitting there and I was like,
I thought it was. I like that they picked that too because of the chicks. They're like werecats in Zombie Island, but the werewolves and then the women turn into werecats and Scooby Doo. I was like,
So he's sitting there, and then he gets another knock at the door, and he goes outside and he looks, and he can't. There's just pumpkins, bunch of pumpkins, and this is the part where I thought Rhonda was working with Sam, because the last time we saw this many jack-o'-lanterns was.
I'm gonna come back to you on that. Why she's not? But
you want to wait till after?
Well,
or you want to now?
You know what? Remember at the beginning, whenever the wagon is going, and then
we'll get to that.
Yeah, okay.
We'll get there.
I have that shows she's not, but keep going.
But the reason why I thought that Rhonda was working with him, because when we first saw Rhonda was when Trader was talking to her and trying to convince her to come along, and her house had, like I said, a bunch of different pumpkins. And when Mr. Creeley walks out the house, he sees a bunch of pumpkins that weren't out there before. So he goes back inside and he sees like I guess one of the windows gets like cracked or smashed. Again, he has bars on his windows. This is important. And he starts, you notice he has breathing problems. And I thought about that one too. I'll tell you that in a second.
Well, and he was also, you didn't mention this, but when we're watching him in his house, he's burning old pictures.
Yes, he's burning old pictures.
Yeah.
So he's like trying to find, whoever's like doing this to his house, and hears Spike in the backyard. He goes to the backyard.
Barking, yeah.
Sure enough, it's the same exact scene, just from the other point of view of, Spike eating the finger, but Mr. Creeley doesn't see Spike eating the finger. We just get the point of view of Mr. Creeley as all that stuff in Mr. Wilkins' backyard is happening.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what I was meaning earlier whenever I said that. I was like, oh, why is he like, wondering like who's over on the other side of the fence? It's because somebody's been like vandalizing his house. And that's why he comes out with a shotgun, or not shotgun, a baseball bat, and he's like all freaking out. It's because somebody's been, fucking with him.
He does have a shotgun, though.
He does, but he doesn't have it yet. Yeah, because when he walks out, he's like, oh, I got a shotgun above the fireplace. And I'm like, why? It's just your neighbor, bro. I mean, yeah, your neighbor's a serial killer, but you don't know that.
Yeah.
But now we know somebody's been vandalizing his house, and he thinks that it might be them. Which I didn't mention earlier when we were talking about Mr. Wilkins. He says, get your kid out of my backyard as he's walking back inside. So we get this whole thing again, and as he's walking back inside, we see a point of view of, we know who this is. It's Sam, because we got the same point of view at the beginning. And Mr. Creeley walks back inside, and as he does, what exactly happens? What's the first thing that happens when he gets back inside? I can't remember.
Spike's barking again. See, this is what worries
Spike's
me.
at the door.
Because, yeah, and then I think he goes upstairs. Spike goes upstairs because I remember he goes in the room.
No, I got this out of order. So the backyard thing happens, and then Spike's barking at the door when he comes back inside. Then he sees the pumpkins.
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. Yeah, he ends up.
No, you were right about the kid, the trick or treaters, and then somebody comes back, and then he opens the door and it's the pumpkin.
Yes.
Spike barks and goes upstairs. That's why he goes upstairs.
He takes the shotgun.
Yeah.
And he goes upstairs, and when he gets to the room, he sees his bed, and on his bed, he sees like something moving.
Yeah, like really small. We were like, "How deep is his bed?"
Yeah,
it looked like something was like, if it's Sam or Spike or something, how the hell?
Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
So
bitch.
So he goes and he like peels back the blanket, and it's just this like little robot like
like the little Frankenstein hands that crawl. That you can get a spirit and stuff.
As soon as he does, this pumpkin that's in the corner like sets on fire, and it shows his room. It's just covered in writings and blood, and it just says over and over, "Trick or treat."
The little nursery rhyme, like "Trick or treat,
give me something good to eat.
If you don't, I don't care. I'll pull down my
door." He didn't say all that. It just says "Trick or treat, give me something good to eat," and and then we see Sam come out from on the other side of the bed, and he just immediately just starts attacking Mr. Wilkins. Mr. Wilkins manages to kick him off and get away, and as he gets to the end, or like to the stairs, he trips down the stairs like a bunch of candy. He slips on, he falls down the stairs.
Sam put out like the jawbreakers or something.
Yeah. Rated R Home Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, just Halloween version. So yeah, that's why I wrote rated R Home Alone. And then as he's at the bottom of the stairs, he starts trying to get away, and he goes to the front door, which he has a bunch of locks on it that he keeps locked. That's important as well.
Oh, and don't forget something also. I don't know if the candy was in a glass bowl or something.
Yes.
But glass was at the bottom of the stairs.
And
so his hands, he's got like little shards of glass all in his hands.
And as he's trying to unlock the door, which again, he has a lot of locks, and he's got glass on his hands, so it's kind of harder as he's really slow. You see Sam crawling on the ceiling. Yeah. So not only do we have rated R Home Alone, we have rated R Spider-Man as well.
Yeah, Sam's on the ceiling. Sam.
He's blowing my wire out of here.
He's like a little toddler. You get a shot. You get a shot of Mr. Wilkins like trying to open the door, and then you see this kid on the ceiling like. It's hilarious. That's the comedic parts of it. It's like Sam. He's funny, like how he acts because he's like a kid.
Gosh, yeah. So then. Mr. Creeley looks up and he sees Sam on the ceiling.
Oh yeah, just Sam drops down. He just drops down and Sam is punching Mr. He's like punching him.
Just imagine like this 3-year-old.
He's not stabbing him or anything like hard. He just
his little baby hand. But we mentioned that. I mean, we'll see later. He has like strength.
Yeah, Mr. Wilkins. Yeah, Mr. Wilkins
Creeley
is trying to or Mr. Creeley is like Sam gets him down, beats his ass, and then while he's beating his ass, Mr. Creeley grabs Sam's mask and rips it. He rips it off, and then we see Sam's face.
Yes.
And he's not a human or anything like. He's a pumpkin head.
Yeah, he's
like
a
he
pumpkin
looks.
monster.
He looks like a pumpkin head monster.
So eventually, Mr. Creeley gets a hold of his shotgun, and then as soon as he gets
Sam, because he kicks Sam off, and then Sam's biting his leg.
Yeah, so then he gets the shotgun, he's holding it like this, and Sam looks at it and goes, "Huh?"
And
then
like
he gets shot and gets flung across. You see his tiny little body get flung across.
Yeah,
and he's like leaning up against the door, like limp, like this.
He looks like he's dead. Yeah.
So then Mr. Creeley goes to the phone and he picks up the phone and starts calling 911. And as he does, you see the phone cord. It doesn't get cut; it just gets unplugged. And he looks back over at Sam, who, by the way, he shot multiple times. So that I don't have any problems with that. That's like something usually people have a problem with. He shoots him like 3 times. At one point,
he shoots his hand off, his leg off, everything.
Yeah, shoots his hand off. That's important. So so the phone line gets unplugged. He looks over. Sam's still laying there. He's like, "What?" And then he feels like something starts stabbing his foot, and he looks down. It's Sam's hand over here, like the Addams Family crawling around.
Oh, one cool part when Sam's like standing over him, he pulls a candy bar out, and then when he lowers the paper, he slowly lowers it, and it's that razor blade chocolate bar that Mr. Wilkins gave him. Do what?
Yeah, that was upstairs. You're right, Mr. Wilkins.
Mr. Wilkins, because Sam came up after the regular kids were trick or treating.
No, it was after. It was whenever
the 3 kids were trick or treating.
Yeah,
Sam comes up. Yeah, Sam comes up after them, and Mr. Wilkins he's like, "What the fuck?" Yeah. And then he gives them some candy.
Yeah, so that comes
candy
back.
bar. So Mr. Wilkins put a razor blade in the candy bar.
Yeah, so then he tries to use the razor blade candy bar to kill Mr. Creeley, but in the end, Mr. Creeley, when he sees like the severed hand, he goes, "What does he say?" He says something funny. I forget exactly what he says. Something like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me," or something like that.
You gotta be kidding me. That's what he said.
And then the hand crawls back to Sam, and for like a second, they're like 2 separate entities because like the hand is like motioning.
And Sam's like, "Oh, look."
So then they reconnect, and then Sam starts, beating the shit out of Mr. Creeley again.
Yeah, he's like this little 3 foot tall.
Yeah. And it was earlier, it was before he shot him that we get the shot of Mr. Creeley going to the window and like banging on the window.
Yeah.
And he sees Mr. Wilkins come up, and he's like, he's like, "Wilkins, help me. And that's what we saw earlier. And then you see Sam just come out of nowhere and tackle him again.
Yeah.
And then eventually Mr. Creeley gets to the door, and he's, he doesn't have any ammo in a shotgun anymore, but he does see what does he see? He sees like a knife or something in the bowl, and in the bowl,
more ammo.
It was something. No, it was a bottle of like whiskey.
Oh, a beer bottle. You want to grab a
yeah. So he knocks over this beer bottle, and it also knocks over this bowl. And in the bowl had the candy that he ate that tasted funny, so he spit it out, but it falls like right here on his chest. But he gets the beer bottle and he smashes it because Sam had the lollipop, and he took a bite out of the lollipop, which gives it that jagged, like we always know. And then he goes to stab him, but whenever he does, Sam grabs his arm, and that's when we get like the Sam like super strong, like smashes it like that, like I think breaks it.
Yeah, he breaks his hand. He pushes his hand back and breaks it.
Yeah, and he goes to stab Mr. Creeley, but when he does, he stabs a candy bar.
Yeah.
And this is where you said that Mr. Creeley followed the rules of Halloween. I don't understand that one. I don't think that.
Well, I think Sam was teaching him, and I think Sam also knew the zombie kids were coming, which we'll get to that, obviously, spoiler. But at the beginning, he didn't give kids candy. Yeah. He just scared them off. When the rule was always give out candy.
Yeah.
So
he stabs the candy bar, and then he walks away. And then as he walks away, he goes outside, and we see him standing there. And it cuts to Mr. Creeley. He's all,
I remember Mr. Creeley whenever Sam stabs the candy. Mr. Creeley,
he's like, "Ah!"
Oh, like he opens his eyes, hoping Sam's just gone.
Yeah. Like he
And Sam
plays
just
dead.
Eats the chocolate bar.
Yeah, he plays dead. So yeah, Sam goes outside, and then we cut, and then Mr. Creeley's now like all bandaged up. It's the same night, so he must have did this a lot, a lot of time. So he walks over and he gives out candy.
He gives it to the kids, the clown kid and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it was 3 girls. It wasn't the clown kid.
Oh yeah, it was 3 girls dressed as pigs.
Yes.
3 little pigs.
So, then we see Sam standing, watching Mr. Creeley, and then we cut from Mr. Creeley's point of view, and we get closer to Sam, and then Sam looks over and sees Rhonda. Rhonda walks across the road and almost gets hit by a car, which we saw at the very beginning when we saw the robot, the robot and the woman. We see the wagon, see a girl with the wagon almost get hit by a car, and in the car was the sisters, the werewolves.
The werewolf girls, going to the parade.
Yes, going to the parade, getting their costume. And then we see the two,
the robot woman, the couple from the beginning.
Yeah.
And we're basically see when Sam goes over there.
Goes over to kill them.
Because she blows out a jack-o'-lantern.
Yes. As soon as she blew out the jack-o'-lantern, Sam's like, oh, shit, here we go again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then back to the beginning and boom. So that's pretty much the entire movie. We see that. We just see it cuts back to Mr. Creeley. He gets another knock at the door. He opens it, and it's the zombie kids. And was
that like an end credits thing, like after the credits went?
No, it wasn't after the credits. It was like the very last scene of the movie. We see the zombie kids, and the reason why the zombie kids are there, we see in the fireplace, the photos he was burning was the photos of him standing next to the kids.
He was the bus driver.
Yeah, he was the bus driver.
So everything looped back.
Yeah, and the zombie kids are there to take their revenge.
And then it just shows the graphic novel or the comic panels, but they basically rip Mr. Creeley apart.
Yes. And the last thing I have written down is this is my favorite Halloween movie. I love this movie.
Yeah, it is a good Halloween movie. I still think the best Halloween movie of all time is Halloween.
We'll watch
1978.
We'll watch
but
Cam's going to be the main guy for all our spooky season stuff.
But well, probably any movie that's like violent anyway. But yeah, I think Halloween was it's a very good Halloween movie though. Like this is a movie you can watch every Halloween because it's short to where it's like doesn't overstay its welcome, so you can rewatch it. It's only an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, but the order that we have is like even though everything takes place at the same exact time, we kind of have like a somewhat of an order of like in terms of like the stories that you see. You got the pranking kids, which is Trader and his friends first. Because that's technically
they're trick-or-treating
first. Yeah. And then you have Mr. Wilkins, because the prank kids come up, to Mr. Wilkins' house, blah, blah, blah. You see all that stuff with Rowley and all that. Then you have the werewolves, because obviously they kill Mr. Wilkins after his little storyline. And then you have Sam, even though he's there the whole time, usually like, his thing is just the bus driver, which is weird because I thought Sam would
but Sam's kind of always present. Like he's always present in everything that's happening.
I wanted more Sam kills.
Yeah.
But I feel like that final scene kind of was good.
Yeah, well, he gets 2 kills. He kills the girl.
He doesn't kill the other guy, does he?
No, he doesn't kill her husband. He just kills her. I mean, we don't know what happens to her husband because he just finds her.
He just goes back inside and starts watching the nature special.
Yeah, he's like, God, I got to blow off some steam. Because I watch the nature special.
Oh, man. Good Halloween decoration, I guess. Just goes back
inside. Yeah. Wow. She really pulled it off this year.
Yeah, her mom's going to come tomorrow and really have a heart attack.
Yeah, he's probably like, thank God I don't want to deal with her.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's Trick or Treat.
Yeah. Oh, and back to the thing you were saying you think Rhonda was helping Sam. That's why I said she couldn't have been because she didn't get back home until the thing where she almost got hit by the girls in the car.
What?
At the beginning. That? Remember? Because Sam walks out, like all that happens at Mr. Wilkins or Mr. Creeley's house, and the jack-o'-lanterns and all that show up at Mr. Creeley's house while Rhonda is coming back from the
but I'm saying, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, there's no way. Sam's just supernatural. That's how he was able to, because Rhonda wouldn't be fast enough. Because remember, knocked on the door and then it was in between those other kids, so it was Sam that did that.
I see what you're saying.
Because Rhonda's just a human, just a person. So
I don't know what the
And they only had 8 pumpkins. They were like 30 in his yard.
There was like 30 in hers though too.
Yeah, but that would have meant she would have had to go back to her house.
I see what you're saying. The only reason why I said that is I was wondering if like they were somehow working together, and that actually
No,
wasn't her
I think
house.
she just like she seems like she's all into the like Halloweeny stuff. So she's probably like, oh yeah, Sam. She probably figures out what he is, or she might just think he's just a kid.
Maybe, but yeah, that was Trick or Treat. I highly suggest you guys go watch that for yourself. It's really good.
Yeah,
I mean,
top tier Halloween movie
for literally
one of the best.
top 3 for me. Some movies that I do want to hit this month.
You need to watch. We need to watch The Thing, the original The Thing.
I mean, technically, so we'll probably get with you, probably get 4. If we do like, if you're willing to commit, probably like one like this every weekend. Yeah. It doesn't take up a lot of time. We're doing this on
Saturdays would be better.
Saturdays would.
Yeah, okay. That way we don't got to worry about work the next day.
Well, yeah, this is Sunday today, but yeah, we might be able to fit it in once a weekend, and then I could probably do like some more lighthearted ones like Haunted Mansion and stuff with Caroline. But I do want to hit, like you said, The Thing. I've never seen that, so I'd like to. I want to watch Halloween, but part of me just wants to do Halloween 2018 because that's my favorite. But
well, you could just do a timeline, just watch that whole timeline. Because I got a lot to say about Halloween Ends.
That's a lot to watch. We'd have to like watch like a full. We couldn't do like one of these where we hit everything. It couldn't be too detailed. That'd be a long podcast episode.
Yeah, I mean, I recently just rewatched Halloween 1978. I think I watched it on Halloween while I was working.
Well, that's what we could do. I remember 2018 kills and ends pretty well. So if we just watched the first Halloween 1978 and then we did a podcast on those 4 movies and did like a very condensed version of it, I think we could make it work.
Yeah, maybe. Even though, have you ever seen Halloween 2?
Yeah.
You saw Halloween 2?
But that's not part of that.
I know, but I'm asking like the other Halloween movies. Have you seen them all? Oh.
Yeah. It's complicated.
I personally like the sister storyline better.
But so yeah, we got maybe The Thing. That'll probably be one we cover for spooky season. Halloween, at least one of the timelines. Is there any other one you could think of? Probably get 4.
For you, Terrifier.
For us.
Yeah, Terrifier.
You want to watch Terrifier? I don't know.
Terrifier 3. I want to see. I've watched them all.
Oof.
I know Caroline hates gore. Just hearing that movie.
Yeah, that would.
Terrifier. You should watch. We should watch Terrifier 3. Or have you even seen Terrifier 2?
I haven't seen any of the Terrifier.
Oh God, we need to. I mean, the first one's not that good. It's okay. The second one's good.
I'd want to watch it, but
I mean, yeah, but you'd have to watch both of them because it's kind of like a package deal. You know?
No, I like to forget about it too.
Or have you seen Alien, the first original Alien?
A long time ago.
I'm trying to do stuff you've never seen.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out off camera.
Yeah,
but we've got The Thing. We've got Halloween. We got some other ones coming. We're getting the ticket booth back up and running again. November, because we couldn't do October. November spooky season, and then next month for all you happy-go-lucky people like Caroline and me when it's not Halloween. We got Christmas movies.
Then we gotta make one. You gotta do 1 month for straight just action, like nonstop action.
Oh, I'm gonna do
like Matrix.
I was thinking about
John
doing
Wick.
I was thinking about doing 1 month just Alvin and the Chipmunks movies.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
You can do that one by yourself.
Yeah, solo podcast. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys like this. Hope you guys go and watch the movie for yourself. It's been fun to watch, fun to do the podcast on. It was fun having Cam here for his first time on the podcast, and it seems like he had a lot of fun, so he might be coming back.
Make a comment in the comments. Say, Blake, buy a table.
Yeah, okay, I'll buy a table. I gotta buy a table.
Buy a desk.
Yeah.
A bigger desk.
But yeah, it's been fun. We'll get him back in here, and this probably isn't going to be the last time you see him on the podcast or on the channel in general. But Yeah. Anything else you want to say before we end this?
No, that's it. This was terrible. I'm just
He's like,
kidding.
I will never do this again. All right. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for watching.
Hasta la vista.